Tua Tagovailoa. Oh yeah, Tua Tagovailoa. Oh yeah, oh yeah, Tua Tagovailoa. Oh yeah, Tua Tagovailoa. Tua Tagovailoa. Imua. Tua Tagovailoa. Oh yeah, oh yeah, Tua Tagovailoa. Oh yeah, Tua Tagovailoa. Oh yeah, oh yeah, Tua Tagovailoa. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I love that. Hey, this is Ukulelevis, and we're here for another Tua Tagovailoa content with the Miami Dolphins. And here with my good friend and the biggest Tua Tagovailoa supporter out there in Europe, Big Bets himself.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah.
the Big Euro.
You're very nice. And I really like when you called me the Big Euro. That is very nice, you know.
Yeah, and I'm happy that we are doing this because now that the season is over, there are so many negative content out there about Tua Tagovailoa, but we are here to make sure we bring in the good truth so that everybody can make up their mind about Tua Tagovailoa.
Yes.
Say, absolutely. We have to do that because if we don't do that, you know what people see on the internet or on social media, all these false narratives and lies about Tua. You know, it's not nice, but it's not really the fans that are doing it. It's really this big
That is right.
talking heads platforms that are just making up stories. I'm not sure why they're doing it, but they're doing it.
They are doing it because they want somebody else, and then
You know, that is what it is, and you cannot help it. But the only way we can help that is that we do it correctly. We show the truth about Tua, and
absolutely,
we keep moving forward. Like, how do you say it? Imua. Yay, you're learning it. Yeah, you know, we move forward. We keep going forward, and you know, now the talk is looking for a new coach and everything, and you know, they have some invited. Like yesterday on our episodes, on the episode yesterday we did was bring you some names on who they have asked to come and interview for the head coach job to take over from Brian Flores, and you know, Brian Flores I saw it in the internet, he's got like jobs all calling him up you know, to come over and interview, like in the Chicago Bears, and you know, I'm sure there will be a lot, you know, and I've heard some that people might think that he might be able to go to New York Giants, and I think it'll be good because he's from New York, you know. So
that is right.
That'll be nice for him to go back home. You know. What else do I have? Oh yeah, this picture here.
Yeah.
You remember this picture?
Yesterday you said you want to talk about Venus Williams and
in this picture here with Tua Tagovailoa. What did you mean this was a good picture? You know, what I really like about this picture was basically when Venus Williams and her sister started out. I mean, you know, people like me, you know, looked up to tennis players of different color because they were new, because most of the tennis players you saw out there were white players or Russian players, and you know, for the first time you see some young teenager coming out, you know, representing a culture that's never been done before, you know, at such a young age. And not only that, but to have two, you know, and I thought it was nice that this picture was there, because I think this picture shows me that Tua is not going anywhere.
You really think this picture tells you that? Why? I don't understand why you think this picture tells you that.
Well, I'll tell you, man. Have you seen the movie? Because I think for a lot of people now, you know, the young people don't, you know, with social media, don't really know how it came about. I mean, when Venus and Serena were coming up, you know, they were kind of like the odd kids out there. You know, there was some positive, but there was a lot of negative stuff about these two. You know, they would write things about, if they hated the two, they would say, oh, their hair, their braids were messing up the courts, you know. And, you know,
really?
there was a lot of hate besides the good positive things, you know.
No, so you're saying they went through something like similar to what is Tua going through this last 2 years in Miami?
Hey, look, all I know
you
is that
think that's possible?
it's possible, but that tells you something about the owner. You know, the owner picked them to be, you know, brought them in as minority owners, and he understood why. Because these are people that are inspiration to a lot of other children, you know. And not only was Serena and Venus that inspiration for Black American teenagers, but for everybody around the world, you know, and like Tiger Woods. And it's the same case here with Tua Tagovailoa. He's inspiring a lot of kids his color, who's brown, from an island. You know, he happens to be Polynesian, but, you know, if you're from an island, it really, there's a different standards of living in islands. Most of the islands I know of are poor, you know, and struggling. So, you know, it doesn't matter which island around the world, you know, from the Philippines, from Papua New Guinea, or from, you know, around from Fiji or the Solomon Islands. It doesn't really matter. These islands are poor, you know, so it's hard to come out of that. So when you see adversity being played out to you right in Florida, I think this is why they're there to take pictures with Tua. I think it is to show the support, and also because they're friends of the owner, and, you know, why would the owner make them minority owners of the Miami Dolphins? But that is, I think they realize what he's going through. Look, not too long ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, you know, Will Smith was there, you know, to work out with Tua. And this is a time when, you know, this time of coming and supporting, because, you know, for 7 weeks there, it was like, it was raining, it's raining, you know that song. Yes.
Everything was coming down bad, you know.
You know, because you know, Will Smith came over because he was playing the father of the Williams sister in this movie, King Richard's. And if you haven't seen it, please go check it out. It's a really good movie. It shows you not the whole story, but it shows you a lot of good stuff, you know, and what they had to endure, you know, just to make it that far. And I think that has something speaks a lot to some of these characteristics of Tua, and not only Tua. There's a lot of kids out there that are going through adversity, proving people wrong. You know,
You always talk about LaMelo Ball. You know, you always say they never believed he would ever make it in the NBA, but he is one of the young superstars at the moment. Did you see he make the last shot like 2 nights ago against the Milwaukee Bucks? You know, that tells you he's a superstar, but nobody wants to say he is, because a lot of times they were saying he couldn't play and he would never play in the NBA, but they're not gonna give him credit.
That's
now,
right,
because
man.
they all look like fools.
They do, because now he's proven them wrong, you know. And it's the same case with Tua. You know, even though there was no offensive line to help, and all these problems, you know, they had $10 million a receiver sitting there that was injured the whole time. For 2 years, nobody helped Tua. And everything he has done, you know, all the weapons he had were, you know, didn't play. So, you know, the offensive line, the weapons, you know, just tough. So to expect Tua to do this well, with the things he's got, that tells you something. You know,
you know, really, it's tough because you don't have weapons with you, and it's hard to win games, as I know. So as we all know, if they solve the problem with the offensive line, that is already the biggest start. The biggest thing will happen if they find a new coach.
Yeah. Speaking of new coaches, here is something that I thought was interesting if we ever find a new coach to come here, and that was the former Miami Dolphins coach here in Miami for 2005, 2006 was Nick Saban. And, this just happened a few days ago when they lost the national championship. He lost that game to a former, what you call it, assistant coach of his, who's now the Georgia Bulldogs head coach, and check this out. They lost. They lost this game, but a lot of people knew Georgia was going to win. They just had the better team, okay? But here's what I think was interesting. At the end of the press conference, Nick Saban stopped everybody and said if he could say something to acknowledge the two players. This is what I call a head coach.
Locker room.
I'd like to say something. Can I say something?
Absolutely.
These two guys that are sitting up here, they're not defined by one game. These guys played great for us all year. They're great competitors. They were great leaders on this team, and they contributed tremendously to the success of this team, and we would not be here without them. All right, and both of them take responsibility for the loss, but both of them contributed in a lot of ways in a positive way to giving us a chance to win and a chance to be here to have an opportunity to win. So I just want to thank them for that and let everybody know how proud I am of these two guys.
Thank you, Coach.
Wow, they even thank him, Coach. This is very nice, very nice. I like this because, he didn't throw anybody under the bus. In fact, he looks like he is stopping the bus, or he stands right in front of the bus to stop the bus.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And you wonder why everybody goes to Nick Saban to learn coaching, because no matter how many times you turn over, he loses offensive coaches or offensive coordinators or defensive coordinators. They come in there every year, new, but the team keeps winning, and it has something to do with him. And if you learn how to be like that, I think, it'll be great to go and learn under him, because, he's coming down there from Bill Belichick. But, I think Bill Belichick and Nick Saban, they're both yin and the yang.
Or the yin and the yang.
Very good, very good. I like your analogy. They're yin and the yang. Yeah, they are. They're very different football coaches, but not different football coaches. They are the same, but they just both have different styles.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have different styles, and he's learned from Bill Belichick. So maybe one day he'll go down and learn from Nick Saban to get that yin yang thing going. Because he's still young. He's a great defensive player. He won't be out of a job long, and I hope he gets one soon.
Oh yeah,
Very, very soon. And look, something very interesting. They've asked people, and we've given the names last night, but here is something that sticks in my mind. And now that we are talking about yin and the yang, I think it's very important that we talk about a Canadian football coach.
What are you talking about, man?
Who's what to come to Miami? Are you serious? I was talking about Brian Dable. Because he was born in Canada. So that's why I made joke. Yeah, but it was a good joke, because you know what? He started off his career actually with Nick Saban there at Michigan State. He was an assistant in Michigan State, a graduate assistant, in 1998, 1999. So,
wow.
He's been, what's funny is, he was an assistant for working in the NFL for 17 years, and he got a call from Nick Saban to help him out. And guess what he did? He stopped everything and went to Nick Saban in Alabama in 2017 to help him out. Listen to this.
So Jalen Hurts, after he connected with Robert Foster, we were talking about Brian Dable and the path to arriving here in Tuscaloosa, a guy who was an NFL offensive coordinator with the Browns and Dolphins and Chiefs, and most recently a very important part of the success with Bill Belichick and the Patriots. But the foundation to his career was with Nick Saban. He was a grad assistant for Coach Saban back at Michigan State. And in talking to him yesterday, guys, really this was probably the only situation that would ever lure him back and bring him to college football after 17 years in the NFL.
And I think that just speaks volumes about the respect that he has for Nick Saban. And we asked him, is this something you've been anxious to get back to college? And he said, no, like you said, Tess, he was just right place, right time, and the right coach, and that's why he's here.
Wow. No wonder he is so good. I mean, what he's doing there in Buffalo right now. So you're saying that a lot of experience started out with Nick Saban. So he didn't start out as Bill Belichick. He is a Nick Saban disciple. Wow. It's always different, yeah? Yeah, well, I don't know about disciple, but, you know, he first started learning from Nick Saban. And so, obviously, it's obvious that he worked over there in New England. But he was also an offensive coordinator in 2011, like I said before, with Miami Dolphins. So he's been around and he has a lot of experience. He's never been a head coach, but you know, when he won this title with Tua in 2018, that was his last year there. He just went straight to the Buffalo Bills and still been there. So it will be interesting if they decide to pick somebody that has never been a head coach before. But you know, the experience to be able to be coached or to learn from the best, from Bill Belichick and Nick Saban, you know, he went through as a coach in college and as a coach in professional. Most of his life has been coaching professional in the NFL. So it was nice to go down and learn from, how do you call it? Learn from teaching, not professional, you know, no, they are all students playing. And to be able to go down, that tells you something about his mental capacity. Absolutely, because you have no ego. You know, you know, people were wondering why would you go from the NFL to college and do for a year? I mean, basically, he wanted to probably just say thank you for all that he has done for him. And that's what, like, something you go through life and you realize, you know what, Nick Saban really helped me a lot in a lot of places. And, you know, learned a lot about being a coach. And why not? If he needs my help, I will go there for a year and do that. I mean, that's unbelievable. That is something that you never hear of, you know, because everybody wants to stay in the NFL. Why go down, you know, move around like this? But there is something about learning from people of all ages. If you go to university and you see how they coach university against the NFL, there is a big difference. You must be patient. You must be like a parent. You know, you see the mistake that they're gonna make, so you find a way to tell them before they hurt themselves. You know what I mean? Yeah. I hear you. I mean, you gotta have that patience, absolutely, as a parent does. You know, I know that, and they are younger players, and you know, they are not the NFL talent, but they have the potential. And so, how do you bring out this potential from these players as a coach? And what's interesting is when they talk about the press conference with Stephen Ross, he kept saying about collaborative and communication, which was important for Miami Dolphins as a team to move forward, and they needed someone who can do that. And when I saw that in 2017, when they won the national championship in that January, actually Brian Daboll was the offensive coordinator, but he also had an offensive co-coordinator, and that was with Mike Locksley. So the two of them, you know, could do things together. So that's collaborative, and he's done that he's done that everywhere. You know, he's learned that, he's done that. So now the question is, will he be able to do that? here in Miami. But as you can see, but that he's done it because Miami have two how do you call it? You have two offensive coordinators. So if he comes in, do you think he will? Because look at what he's done for Josh Allen. You know, he's very good.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I mean, look here. He last year in 2020 he was the NFL Assistant Coach of the Year, but from the AP. You know, I mean, Assistant Coach of the Year, just because of what he did. You know, and I think that's amazing.
I know, but you know, everybody wants to have an established coach. You know, there are 3 of them that have been to the Super Bowl already, or head coaches. They won head coaches already, and you and the different how do you call it, thinking.
Yeah, well, we'll explain more, but I think Brian Daboll will be perfect coach for Miami Dolphins. As always, take care and be safe out there.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah, Tua Tagovailoa. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah, Tua Tagovailoa. Tua Tagovailoa.